Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. Looking at fire potential impacts over the next few days, we will see breezy winds continuing across similar area to where we saw yesterday. Gusts won't be quite as strong as what we saw yesterday. We will also see a mix of wet and dry lightning across portions of Utah and Nevada today. You can see those areas highlighted in yellow on the map. As we move into Friday, we will continue to see a wind threat, but it will be mainly confined to western Nevada. We'll continue to see showers and thunderstorms across Idaho. Those storms will be trending wetter on Friday. The main threat on Friday is the potential for some dry thunderstorms across central and southeastern Utah, as well as a mix of wet and dry further north and west. On Saturday, again, we'll see another day of gusty winds across western Nevada and the potential for more lightning. Over the past 24 hours, there was really not much in the way of precipitation across the Great Basin, and there was some lightning across portions of Idaho. We picked up some new fires across the Great Basin yesterday. You can see those in red on the map. It has been very dry across the central and southern part of the Great Basin over the past 7 and 14 days. These precipitation maps really illustrate how dry it has been across much of the area, particularly western Nevada and central and southern Nevada and Utah. So really dry further south, but quite wet further north. A really abnormally wet 2-week period across the northern part of the Great Basin. With that wet weather, you can see the ERCs are much lower across the north than they are in the south. ERCs across the north are generally below the 50th percentile, but that changes quite dramatically moving south further south into the Great Basin, where it's been much drier and warmer. Continuing to look at those ERC trends, even across the south where it is quite high, it's normal for our ERCs to be high this time of year. It's typically right around the peak ERC time right now, and so you can see on those ERC trend charts we are right around normal across the central and southern part of the Great Basin. Our 10-hour fuel moistures are quite dry. Not surprisingly, they are the driest across the southern part of the Great Basin, and pretty wet further north. Live fuel moistures are following a similar trend, with higher live fuel moistures further north and those decreasing to below normal as you head further south into the Great Basin. Satellite this morning shows a really large, broad low-pressure system encompassing pretty much the western half of the United States. This is a rather stationary low-pressure system, which means that we will continue to see pretty interesting weather over the next few days. For today, no significant fire potential highlights on the map. We will be seeing drier conditions across the south and some enhanced winds. Looking at the next slide, you can see winds probably in that 25 to 30 mile an hour range across just a section of western Utah and Nevada today, as well as low relative humidities across the southern half of the Great Basin. Looking at precipitation, we could see some showers across the northern part of the Great Basin associated with a weather disturbance moving through. As we move into Friday, we start to see things get a little more interesting. Moisture will move into the southeastern part of the Great Basin, bringing a threat for dry lightning to an area that's been quite dry, where the fields are quite dry. And you can see that we are highlighting a portion of southern Utah and the Arizona Strip for the lightning potential today. If we look at winds and relative humidities, the good news is that winds are pretty light tomorrow. Not too much in the way of winds. Still looking quite dry across much of the area. Relative humidities come up a bit across southeastern Utah and the Arizona Strip with that increase in moisture. The main threat for tomorrow is the potential for dry lightning, and you can see some of those areas highlighted in that image on the right. As we move into Saturday, we look at another push of dry air from the west, as well as an increase in wind. We are highlighting the risk for strong winds across western Nevada on Saturday, which also coincides with the 4th of July holiday, and continuing to highlight southeastern Utah for the risk of dry lightning on Saturday. Taking a closer look at winds, you can see for most of the area they're expected to be quite light, and relative humidities will be very dry across the area on Saturday. Again, on Saturday there is a threat of dry lightning, and you can see some of the areas that will be seeing those showers and thunderstorms on the map on the right. Over the next 3 days, despite an increase in moisture, we won't see too much in the way of precipitation across the Great Basin. As we move into Sunday, much drier air moves into the area, which is significant after a couple of days of dry lightning and a holiday where people light things on fire. So much drier on Sunday. Then as we move into Monday, that dry air continues to make its way through the Great Basin, and we do see the winds pick up across western Nevada. We are highlighting western Nevada again for the high risk for winds on Monday. Then as we move into Tuesday, a broader area of winds that we are concerned about. You can see now a portion of Utah and Nevada and the Arizona Strip highlighted for those gusty winds on Tuesday. So really looking dry and increasingly windy the early part of next week. Then as we move into Wednesday, that trend continuing, if models continue to look like this, we would expect to see another windy day on Wednesday. In the 7-day period, it's really dry across the Great Basin. Despite some increased moisture, we aren't expecting to see too much out of those storms. In the 8 to 14-day period, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for below normal precipitation and above normal temperatures for a large portion of the Great Basin. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.